Hello, friends. This is John Klein III of episode 52 of Shadow and Flame of Magic, the podcast. And today we're going to review Uncanny Avengers, the 2023 issue 1 that just came out a week ago. So let's get to it. And once again, thank you to Francisco for providing the theme song to the show. Appreciate it, and you. And this is apparently volume 4 of Uncanny Avengers. I remember the first volume, and I do not remember hearing anything about the other 2 volumes. Our cast is Captain America, Deadpool. Oh no, I guess as the Avenger. And then the other members are Deadpool, Quicksilver, Rogue, Psylocke, the Revenge, the proper Psylocke, and Monet, who is in her penance form on the cover, and I don't remember her having the ability to go to that form, but I guess that's what the comic's about. Scrolling down to the credit team. So this is written by Jerry Duggan, the Gods page writers Jonathan Hickman, which works as a post-credit to this issue. Artist Javier Goron. Color artist Maury Hollowell. Letterer VC's Travis Laham. And designed by Tom Muir and Jay Bowen. And alright, so let's get to the comic. It opens up with a beautiful John Romita Sr. tribute, 2 pages. Just still missing him, and I don't know. Twitter has just been having a bunch of John Romita Jr. artwork where I'm just like, man, like John Romita Jr. is amazing, and his father like set the way for him. There was a nice little moment here about how he designed the original Wolverine costume, so you know, he didn't do much for the X-Men, but he sure did have an impact on it. So the issue opens up not long ago, and we see Dr. Status Stasis. Oh man, and MODOK, and they're just talking about how they're going to recruit someone to get a job done, because the mutants have just gone too far. And whoever this is, and it's still a mystery of who Captain Coca-Cola is, but we see that he was locked behind this glass, and they chit-chat with him, trying to tell him that mutants are, going too far, and it's a little bit more than the law will allow. And so, if he wants in, and which he does with a crack of the fist through the glass, sort of makes the theory he's John Walker. Oh man, what's U.S. Agent's last name? Oh no, I think he is John Walker, which is fun because my name's John and my son's name's Walker, and it took until Falcon and Winter Soldier to pop up where I was like, oh yeah, John Walker. That's a coincidence, and it really is. And so they, now that they have a Captain Coca-Cola, they can continue forward. And we get to the credit page, Fall of X. To foster unity between humanity and the mutant nation of Coca-Cola, Earth's mightiest heroes, the Avengers, and the mutant X-Men form a single team to help defend the Earth. Together, they are the Uncanny Avengers. Mutant kind is more in danger than ever before. The anti-mutant organization Orchis attacked the Hellfire Gala and issued an ultimatum. For every mutant found on the planet, Orchis will annihilate increasingly number of humans. With no other choice, Charles Xavier psychically banished all mutants from Earth. Only a handful of training were able to resist his telepathic command. The mysterious mutant Captain Coca-Cola launched an attack on the U.S. government. Captain America set out to intercept him, but was in turn attacked by Orchis agents and then rescued by the mutant Rogue. And a new breed of Stark Sentinels are on the hunt for mutants. And the team official roster is Psylocke, Penance, Captain America, Deadpool, Quicksilver, and Rogue. So it's fun that Quicksilver and Captain America are the traditional Avengers. as Quicksilver, has both feet in both franchises. So we cut to today. Ben Urich is looking at the Daily Bugle cover. It says Mutant Massacre with Captain Coca-Cola in front of the Capitol with his hands all bloody. With the caption on the top saying, ESU Professor Gill injured in attack. Wife denies involvement. Which I don't know what that reference is. Mutants launched simultaneous attacks at Hellfire Gala and Washington, D.C. Ben Urich narrates the issue for a while. And the times we're living through have only gotten more interesting, unfortunately. My name is Ben Urich. I'm a reporter. I don't care what my resume says my job actually is right now. I'm the owner of the Daily Bugle, but my job is a reporter. And I don't remember, like him being the owner of Daily Bugle must be a story. I won't Google it because then my Google algorithm is going to be like, you like Spider-Man now. Like, if you ever like a post on James Bond Twitter, like, get ready to have your feed be owned by James Bond. Where I'm like, is people posting every day about James Bond? And they are. I forget, there's another franchise too where you just like one post and that's it. Game over. The mutants banded together and formed a nation. The announcement was heard around the world. Like, literally, because Xavier announced it. They grew medicines to treat diseases of the mind. And it turns out those drugs have been tainted. There's an awesome image of the bottom right corner of a guy taking his daily pills. Next page, upper left, perfect sequence, like he's knocked out. And somehow knocked out all, like, his tables he was at. Like, you think he wouldn't knock all the chairs down, but he sure did. If you believe Orcus, a hodgepodge of questionable characters, the mutants are to blame. And maybe that's true, maybe not. Me? Well, I haven't made up my mind yet. I don't have all the facts, but I will. What is true is that the X-Men had their own symbol of a nation. It was Cyclops operating under the name Captain Coca-Cola. And I find it hard to believe that's the same man who committed an act of terrorism in Washington, D.C. As we saw in Free Comic Book Day, Uncanny Avengers, Tom. I think that's Tom Burrell. Because I don't think I named the editor team. Let's see here. Martin Brio, assistant editor. Annalise Biza, associate editor. Who I'm pretty sure I've heard on a couple podcasts now. Tom Brevo as editor. And they announced not too long ago that he's going to become the X-Men editor. And people are wondering if that's going to mean back to the school for them. But Austin Butler wrote an awesome article about the status quo of the X-Men on Comics XF. So that's a great article if you want to check that out. He breaks down the X-Men franchise to see how often they are in the school led by Xavier and when they're not at the school led by Xavier. And it's a pretty interesting percentage. So what is their proper status quo? And editor-in-chief C.B. Cebulski. And there's a fun little Avengers created by Stan Lee and Jack Kirby, which is curious, as they can easily write Avengers and X-Men created by Stan Lee and Jack Kirby, but they didn't do that, so wonder what legal agreement that came about. If Captain Coca-Cola is a false flag operation is working, fear Coca-Cola and mutants in general have never been higher, and Orcus has set their aims higher still. Most of the mutants walked through their magic plant gates and haven't been seen since. Orcus has been rounding up the ones who didn't leave and deporting them to Mars, where a deviant line of mutants have taken up residence. I find it keeping up with my own planet's politics exhausting, but evidently there's a civil war raging up there and their fates are very much tedious. Which I appreciate all this narration as, I don't know, if it's not, Cape Pride, and we'll get to why we're reviewing this issue in a bit. But, I don't, I know Coca-Cola is a thing, Oraco, I'm sorry, and that it's Mars, but I'm not that familiar with much else with all the characters. One thing is for sure, one way or another, there are a lot of people who need to face justice. A lot of dead folks who need to be avenged, which is, just a fun way to work that in. It's especially as for decades, the joke was always they don't really ever avenge things. it's going, like the Defenders, ironically, defend their turf and each other, but, probably be a more apt name. It's going to be a big story. Luckily, I've got a friendly source on the inside. Orcus Infiltration Center, Kansas City, Missouri, now. And we see this guard is like yelling at people. The mutants aren't walking fast enough into the ships. That old thing. Someone's cloaked saying, like, get ready, we're going to wait for a signal. The guard's all mad, like, what are you doing? Taking forever. And then she slices his throat with a swick. And then he dies. Other goons are dying. The hooded person has to be like, that was my signal, by the way. And it turns out it's Psylocke. And Urich is still narrating. Psylocke was trained by the Hand to be an assassin. Until the mutant massacre, she served as a great captain of Krakoa, charged with the nation's defense. She's never forgive herself for the fall of Krakoa, but it wasn't her fault. The assault was a brilliantly executed trap, a false propaganda component. And one of the complaints of the Hellfire Gala 2023 has been like, you mean Magic didn't know any other actual spells to teleport? Like, where was Manifold, who could have done something? What about all the other mutants from Second Coming that could just open up doors and get people away? Like a lot of criticism about, which is fun because this is written by Jerry Duggan, who wrote the other one. And now that I'm talking about this, like, he's also writing the X-Men monthly title, so he's clearly steering the ship of this Fall of X era we're in. But so now you have to explain, like, where were the heavy hitters? Kawan's Quanon? That's it. I'm sorry, Quanon. Mutant gift was a psychic knife, but she rarely used it, and instead opted for more lethal tools, and she's just slaying people. And it's not as dramatic as Kate Pryde in X-Men 25, but it's still like, one lady with means, like, not being held back. In the weeks following attack, she hid by day, and at night she shared the darkness in her to facets who had nearly exterminated her people. She cut and ran and hid and was always long gone before the new Sentinels packing Iron Man's technology arrived. Monet St. Croix, a.k.a. Penance, was her partner. They were among a small number of mutants who had been tactically trained. And yeah, there's Monet just running around as Penance. Just like slashing fences, trying to get people away. So she's clearly not on the killing side of things. She's on the rescue. The sword of the sword and shield, if you will. No, I'm sorry. She's the shield in that metaphor. Why did I even start a metaphor to just butcher it? Both are failed warriors who had decided to go out cutting as much as they could, and they accepted their fate. And were content to kill as many of them as possible as they went. Because, if you're losing the war, you might as well take people with you. And Psylocke's just going around, just kicking, stabbing. No diamonds, though. Or butterflies, now that we're looking. But no, I'm sorry. That's Betsy's thing. When she had a moment to spare, Psylocke made them feel the pain they had caused. It was self-care for the assassin. She knew that one night she would be challenged. But metals she could not cut. Oh, by metals she could not cut. That night was tonight. And then we see her stab a person, but it's Captain America. And the artist has decided to show Cap's eyebrows right below the cowl of his mask. So that's interesting, as usually those bad boys are covered. But good for him. We need more eyebrow representation. Which I don't have Yuving Levy eyebrows, but I mean they're like brown and wide, so I'm conscious of eyebrows. I always go like, I see you. So Psylocke's just like, oh, Captain America's here, like, clearly I'm in trouble now. And then Cap throws his mighty shield. It goes right past her, a wha-bang, and it hits a guard in the head, and it hits 1, 2, 3 other goons, and then it comes back to his hand like a champ. He tells her that he's on their side and that they need to get a handle of the situation and then avenge them. And then Deadpool shows up. Quicksilver's there. And so he's trying to reunite the Unity Squad. Because Rogue's already saved them previously. Deadpool says more on their way. So the Sentinels are there. So they're like, let's get going. They have a cool helicopter. And they're off. Rogue's seeing a facility. And she's gauging how close she can get. Turns out it's within 200 meters before they can notice her. And then we get Captain Coca-Cola now narrating. So Yorick got a yellow box with blue or black text, which is usually a Deadpool thing. But Captain Coca-Cola has like a bluish green, which does not match the blue of his uniform nor the green. But maybe it's a combination of those two. The X-Men's former jet, the Thunderbird, streaks across the southern Pacific Ocean. Then we see he has some goons. Nitro in an outfit I don't recognize. Like, when did he get a cape? You think he'd be losing that every time he used his powers. And then the Blob's with him, but he's clean shaven. So clearly he's backslid. But I guess he doesn't have a bar anymore to run on Coca-Cola. So what's he supposed to do? Open up another bar somewhere else? I mean, sarcastically. That would be a great idea. So Captain Coca-Cola has the Thunderbird. And so that's not great, because then people, even if we claim he's not an X-Men, it's like, yeah, well, he's flying your ship, so, you know, seems like X-Men identity, X-Men ship. Okay. And he's calling these new teammates of his the New Brotherhood. So then he's falling towards Coca-Cola. Captain Coca-Cola has been telling a lot of lies. One, that he was invisible to the Stark Sentinels that perturbed Coca-Cola. Oh, is he not narrating then? Well, then I don't know who this narration box is. Maybe I've forgotten. He lied about everything, even his name. Blob thought he was Cyclops. Wild Slide didn't care. He just wanted to kill. Maybe... Okay, this is Wild Slide and not Nitro. So sorry about that. He's following past Coca-Cola. It's the island itself who has like permanent tears down his eyes. He just wanted to kill. Both were Captain Coca-Cola's useful idiots. The pit under the Quiet Council's chambers is where the mutants hid the worst of their kind. The soldier was looking for a particular duel, and he found the Finnish twins, who are all wrapped around each other. Did someone else do that, or is that just how they did with themselves? We would never. Only their hairdresser would know. And they quickly agreed to go with him. In Manhattan, oh no, it's not Captain America either. In Manhattan, an opposing force was being gathered by a very different soldier. Steve Rogers was born leader, and he learned long ago that the Misfits could be tempered into the finest soldiers. Deadpool would have fit right in among the howling commandos, even if he would have annoyed them morning, noon, and night. Captain America redeemed Deadpool once on the Avengers Unity Squad, and it cost Wade Wilson everything during the rise of his secret empire. Which now people are saying that because the Secret Empire got hinted at, that this might be the Hydra Cap, who's Captain Coca-Cola, and, you know, decent enough. And I forget how that story ended, but I want to say he was held prisoner somewhere. Perhaps in a metal cage or with a vacuum-sealed glass window. Could be. Rogers was not to blame, but he felt he owed Deadpool another chance on the Unity Squad for following his doppelganger blindly into destruction. So that had to be the second or third volume of Uncanny Avengers. With the recruitment of Psylocke and Penance, the team was complete, if not ready for the challenges ahead. The old Morlock tunnels snaked under Manhattan. They were once home to the mutants who had no place in the surface world. Now they are the refuge of the remaining X-Men. And I do find it very clever how we went from a modern day mutant massacre to the location of the original mutant massacre. Like, that's just cleverly written. And like we saw in X-Men 25, the X-Men and the Unity Squad are meeting in the sewers. And then we see Tony Stark's a member, as well as his new assistant, Hazel Kendall, who we all know as Emma Frost. And then we get to the most important panel of the book. Deadpool says, "White Queen, more like undercover boss Emma Frost." And Cap's like, "I thought the X-Men were meeting us. It so looks like they're here. You can come out. You weren't followed. It's a real reason I was recruited, right? The Avengers have always been a little light in the telepathic department. Hello, Shadowcat." And here we get the X-Men. It's Shadowcat, or Shadowkate, Rasputin the Fourth, and Miss Marvel. "I thought it was time you met Rasputin. She'd be leading the assault on Nimrod." And Rasputin the Fourth's like, "Humans." And Miss Marvel's like, she's literally saying these words. "She's from the future and she won't tell me anything about it." Arms all crossed. And we see Hazel talking, and then clearly the wig's being blown aside. Oh, because Quicksilver just ran behind her. And Quicksilver says they found targets, so he's going to take people to the next mission. So literally, Kate prides in this issue just to make me buy the issue and then talk about it. So, which I could be bought that way. So as long as I'm aware that Shadowcat's in a comic, I'm going to change the schedule around to review those comics. Because the Shadow and the Flame, gotta be all about the Flame and gotta be all about the Shadow. And I know Realm of X is coming out, and that should be Magic's one title, so we should review that too. And then we'll get to the backlog of issues I want to cover. But November will be better. The Inferno bonus episodes, I think, is making it so I can maybe feel more comfortable. Like, yeah, we can do a bonus episode like once a week. People have been very commenting and encouraging, so appreciate everyone for listening. Really appreciate that, as it makes me not feel like I'm just talking to the ether. So Quicksilver was the fastest man alive. He suffered a couple of hard years. First, he and his sister discovered they weren't really the children of Magneto. They were not mutants, and Krakoa was not for them. Then, before he could reconcile with Magneto, the master of magnetism was killed in action on Morocco. And so Quicksilver is taking everyone through not the Speed Force, but his, route. Monet is like, watch the hands, and her arms are crossed, but can't really see where his other hand is. I mean, I imagine it just cross her waist, but also probably above her butt. But, it's always good to be like, hey, boundaries. Which I'm trying to remember. There's an image going around every so often you see of Black Canary clearly rescuing Oracle from the water, and she's just grabbing like a handful of Barbara, where I'm like, well, if they weren't friends before, like, that'd be a chit chat later. I mean, like, save a person's life, but then, I don't know, then you'd be that handsy afterwards. But, friendship's interesting with how different people have different preferences and closeness. So after I finish recording this, I'm going to upload that image of the panel of Shadowkate and the X-Men, so you will have a little idea shortly after when I was recording, and then use it in the little promotion of this. Not little promotion, but I could do more, I guess. Is that my subconscious telling me to try to do? Pietro found purpose in his service as an Avenger. He was further proof that Roger's reclamation of Misfits was a worthwhile endeavor. And so they're there. They're confronting. Blob's like, we're the new Mutant Liberation Front. So it's weird that Captain Krakoa first mentioned the Brotherhood, and now they're like, no, they're the MOF, everybody. The NMLF. Patent. And so while Slide's fighting Psylocke, who looks like he just dodges her, or she dodges him perfectly, Penance comes to Captain Krakoa. He dodges and tosses her aside, which is weird as she can fly, but maybe she can't in the Penance form. The Fenris twins hold hands Deadpool is charging at them, but because they're holding hands, she has lightning powers. It's Andrea and what's his nuts? Doesn't matter. Deadpool just gets blasted right through his chest because he's able to heal. He's allowed to be shot through the chest in a perfect circle. Rogue is fighting Blob. Captain America throws the swings his mighty shield, and it bounces on Captain Krakoa's head. It bounces back to his hand. Captain Krakoa mentions how America is very predictable in his fighting stance. The Krakoan battlesuit was designed to amplify the strength of ordinary non-combatants, giving them an edge during the extinction level event. Whoever this new Captain Krakoa was... Yeah, so who is narrating this? He was much stronger than an ordinary human. And he's like, Tisk, your attacks are obvious and predictable. Allow me to break you of that habit. And for crack, he literally grabs Captain America's unbreakable shield that's always strapped to his left wrist. Well, maybe not always to the left wrist, but always wrapped around one of his wrists. And legit just twists the shield in a way that just fractures his elbow to his wrist. Like, one of those bones is broken. Captain America, that's out of... Next, New Avengers. And then there's a Dr. Statius data page titled Paid Op-Ed to be run across the country in all major newspapers. Earlier today in New York City, one of the Orcus' new Guardians of Humanity, the Sentinel, was assisting the New York Fire Department when it was attacked by the X-Men. These wondrous new machines are a collaboration between Orcus and Stark Unlimited, and today it was saved the lives of 2 firefighters who were at risk of death due to a partial roof collapse. The Sentinel was ultimately destroyed by the Krakoan outlaws because we programmed it to be the deferential to the protection of human lives at all times. Rather than defend our property in a protracted battle against the mutants in a crowded urban setting, we decided to allow the X-Men to have their fun in vandalizing a $1 billion Iron Man's suit designed to preserve human lives. What care do the X-Men have for life and death? If they die, they are restored by the cult of their island. We humans have but one life to live, and we want to live in peaceful coexistence, but the continued aggression of those suffering from the X-Gene are making them very difficult. We've had wave after wave of violence and even political assassinations. Tomorrow, New York City will awake and have one less Sentinel to help protect us from the tedious and terrifying threats we face every day. Please ask yourself this question. Why do the X-Men hate and fear the basic defense tools which we humans seek to protect ourselves? And that's just a cute way to twist a world that hates and fears them. It's just easily be like, well, no, they hate and fear us, and boom. Everyone's back to even footing. Despite what the mutants say, their resurrection is for them, not us. That is a fact. Orcus is a collective of hardworking men and women who have stepped up to fill the gap after the dissolution of S.H.I.E.L.D. because how can we not be concerned by the idea of ethnic nation state that is free to move around the world without any customs or border controls? They are proud of their inhumanity, and that doesn't sit well in my mind. We've been at the crisis since the moment that mutant zealot Charles Xavier intruded into the most sacred place a human being has, into our very minds. Sovereignty over one's body must include who we invite into our thoughts. Xavier barged into our brains not to save us, but to threaten anyone who dared to question the validity of his undemocratic autocracy. A frightening question must be asked to our mutant friends. If a single powerful telepath can reach across the globe and hammer his thoughts into the heads of everyone alive, what could that telepath do if, say, he just wanted to control his fellow mutants? Surely not all mutants are bad, but surely some are, and it's a long past time for humanity to protect itself from a powerful minority that has yet to have proven its willingness to coexist with us. Nothing would make me happier than one day, far in the future, with my grandson on my knee, look back on the editorial with some embarrassment for misjudging the mutants' Krakoa. In the meantime, we must continue prepared to put humanity first in these difficult and disruptive times. In genetic solidarity, Dr. Statius, Orcus Director of Human Resources. P.S. We're hiring. Visit our website if you think you've got what it takes to protect humanity. And then we get the post-credit scene of the House of Ranks of Numbers, House of the Centennium. 2 scientist dudes are performing surgery They take out one of the Tesseracts, and as someone is clearly trying to smuggle Tesseracts onto Earth. And that is the Gods post-credit scene, which make that what you will. I'm sort of losing interest in it. Unless the X-Men are in it, then interest reunited. But his Ultimate Invasion story thus far has not been too bad. Magic showed up in it. Something to do with Ultimate Reed Richards, the maker now, is decided to make his own new Ultimate universe where he's killing heroes before they're born and forcing history to reflect so that it'd be beneficial to him. Ileana was there with Dark Star and her brother Peter, of course, and they were the mutants of Russia. And then Russia was attacked, and I think plot stuff happened. So it wasn't too much to write about, but, not a bad second issue. Speaking of second issues, Follow the Fall, Alpha Flight 1, Dark X-Men 1, which I really enjoyed, Ghost Rider 17. I mean, Alex needs to cool it with not supporting Madeline. I don't know, I get the real vibe that he's just trying to tell her to be cool so that later on he could be like, remember I told you to be cool? And I don't think that's where Alex should be doing. Uncanny Avengers 1, which we just read, Jean Grey 1, Realm of X 1, X-Force 43, which I think all of these comics are out this week, as this is Monday night. At a time when mutant and human relations are in the toilet, the Uncanny Avengers have run smack into a new mutant liberation front, and folks, let me tell you, the MLF came here to beat up the Avengers and X-Men and chew gum, and they're all out of gum. Wake up, babe, a new romance hits and will make readers froth at the mouth. Plus, Ben Urich, always the mark of quality and important Marvel comic. Boom! And that's just fun. All right, everyone. Well, thank you so much for listening. Would I read issue 2? If Shadowcate's in it, then yes. So thank you so much for listening. You can follow the podcast at SNFWM on Twitter and Instagram. You can follow me on Twitter, I guess Instagram as well, YouTube, and Blue Sky at Jacko SIII. Definitely trying to follow more people on there. Yeah, I said Jacko SIII. I was like, did I do it? Of course I did, because that's a lot of eyes. How does one not remember that? This Friday, the new season of Fortnite begins, so I'm not sure when it ends. Second season in a row where they haven't had a countdown clock. But I'm hoping to do my item shop video on Tuesday or Wednesday. Nope, not item shop. Every time. My locker tour, because every season you're guaranteed to at least get 10 new skins and emotes and everything. So I'm looking forward to recording that. And you can follow the blog itself at shadowandflameofmagic.com. Getting a lot of hits there. I made a post about Loki's reference or mention in X-Men 25. So I'm hoping maybe we're doing a slow build to the Dragon's return. So I'm hoping that's a thing. And I will talk at you next time when we review an issue of Inferno. I'm going to record that on Thursday, all things going right. And we'll tune back on for the proper episode where we discuss something. That's always fun. And if you give a rating, 5 stars would be preferred, and a review, we appreciate it. All right, everyone. Thanks for listening. Bye.